Okay, so coming back, we are talking about using systems of equations to model and solve real-world applications. So you need to be able to read a word problem, create that system, and then be able to solve that system. So you're running a concession stand at a basketball game. You're selling hot dogs and sodas. So we are talking about hot dogs and we're talking about sodas. All right, each hot dog costs $1.50. Each soda costs 50 cents. At the end of the night, you made a total of $78.50. You sold a total of 87 hot dogs and sodas combined. You must report the number of hot dogs sold and the number of sodas sold. How many hot dogs were sold and how many sodas were sold? Okay, so if you were writing an equation that has two variables, so in this case you have hot dogs, so we'll say that H is our hot dogs, and we will say that S is our soda. They might on the test tell you what to make your variables, so just make sure you pay attention to that. Like if it tells you that S has to be soda and H has to be hot dog and you choose X and Y, then when it auto grades for you, it's going to mark it wrong. So make sure you take the time to see if it asks you that. So when you're writing, if you have two variables, that means you're going to have two equations. So our two equations, it talks all that stuff about money, and then it talks about the total number of hot dogs that were sold. So our money equation, we're going to have 150 H plus 0.5 S is equal to 78.50. Okay, so that's the money. And then if you sold a total of 87 hot dogs combined, that means that H plus S is equal to 87. All right, you can solve this again using whatever you want to solve with. You could use elimination, you could use substitution, you could use Gaussian elimination with matrices. Whatever you want to pick would be the best. This one's probably easiest if you just go through and you use elimination. So if you wanted to multiply this whole bottom one by negative 0.5, it would allow for our sodas to get canceled out. So I would have negative 0.5 H, minus 0.5 S is equal to 87 divided by 5. So 86 is going to give you 43. So 43 and a half. And then combine that with your first one. So 1.5 H plus 0.5 S is equal to 78.50. This is going to, 1.5 minus 0.5 is just going to leave us with 1. So that's going to leave with an H. These are going to cancel each other out. And so then you're adding together. So you're going to add together 43.50 43.50 plus 78.50 is going to give us that H is equal to 122. Oh, no, because that does not make sense. This is why it's good to look at and check your work, because that does not make sense because he only sold a total of 87. This number right here, all right, when I multiplied by negative, I did negative here, but then I put a positive. So we need to make sure that one's negative too. So this is actually 78.50 minus 43.50, which is going to give us that he sold a total of 35. That makes a lot more sense. So hot dogs is equal to 35. That's our first piece. All right, and then we can take that, we can plug it into whatever equation we want. This one's going to be your easiest. So you have 35 plus S is equal to 87. Subtract 35, subtract 35. And this is going to give you that soda is equal to 52. Now, make sure you check to make sure that they make sense, like your answers. So like, again, when I was up here, I got 122. That doesn't make sense because we only sold 87. It also wouldn't make sense if I got like 29.5, because there's no way that I sold a half hot dog to somebody. So make sure that you take your time and are really paying attention to make sure that your answers seem correct when you finish. Okay, next one. So tacos. I apparently was hungry when I was making these. So you and a friend go to Tacos Galore and you order 3 soft tacos and 3 burritos for a total of $11.25. Your friend's bill is $10 for 4 soft tacos and 2 burritos. How much do soft tacos cost and how much do burritos cost? So now we're talking about tacos, but when we're talking about tacos, we're not talking about, like on this last one, how many hot dogs, how many sodas. We're talking about cost of tacos, and we're talking about cost of burritos. So on this last problem, it wouldn't have made sense to get like 29.5, because again, we weren't going to sell half a hot dog. But if you're talking about cost and I get like 2.5, well, that makes sense because something can cost $2.50. So just make sure you're paying attention. On this last one, it talked all this stuff about money and that got grouped together to make one equation. But on here, you're going to create equations based on like me and then your friend. Okay, so you're gonna have 2 separate equations. I'm gonna have an equation, my friend's gonna have an equation. So my equation, 3 soft tacos, 3 burritos, dang, I was hungry, for $11.25, good prices, is 3t plus 3b is equal to $11.25. So that's my equation. My friend's equation is that they got 4 soft tacos and 2 burritos for $10. So 4 tacos plus 2 burritos equals $10. Now again, choose whatever you want to use to solve. This one would not be bad to use matrices on because you don't have any ugly coefficients, but it's not a great substitution problem just because they don't have anyone that doesn't have a coefficient. So this is probably, again, going to be an elimination problem. If you multiply this whole entire top by 2, and then you multiply the whole bottom by -3, it's going to allow you to cancel out your burritos. So it's going to give us 6t plus 6b is equal to 2250. And then -12t minus 6b is equal to -30. When you combine those, you're going to get -6t. These are going to eliminate, is equal to -750. Yep. And then when you divide, you're going to divide -750 divided by -6, and that's going to give you that t is equal to $1.25. So that means tacos are $1.25. And then you can plug that into either equation that you want to plug it into. So if I plug it into this one, I have 4 times 1.25 plus 2b is equal to 10. 4 times $1.25 is 5 plus 2b is equal to 10. Subtract 5, subtract 5. That's going to give me that 2b is equal to 5. That means that burritos have to be equal to $2.50. Can you imagine if tacos were really $1.25 all the time and burritos were really $2.50? That'd be nice. Okay, so that's that on that one. So again, make sure anytime you do applications, you're almost never, like 99% sure, not going to get a negative number. So if you get a negative number, you messed up somewhere, you need to go back and you need to check yourself. Make sure also, if it's talking about number of items, those are whole numbers. You're not selling half a bag of chips, or you're not having half a person attend something. Like, those are all going to be whole numbers, but cost can be decimals. This is also, if this was on the calculator portion, again, remember, you could type in these as matrices and they could solve it in the calculator that way also. Okay, so next one, determine if a system has no solution or infinitely many solutions. So if I was going to start solving this one, and again, I'm just going to show you with elimination. So if I was going to eliminate, I would want to multiply, if I wanted to eliminate x's, I'd have to multiply this whole top by 2 because that would give me a positive 6x and a negative 6x. So I'm going to get 6x minus 4y is equal to positive 20. And then I have negative 6x plus 4y is equal to negative 20. When I combine those together, everything eliminates. So this eliminates, this eliminates. That leaves me with nothing on that side is equal to this eliminates, which is equal to 0. If you get 0 equals 0, that's a true statement. This is an example of infinite solutions. Okay, if I typed that into my calculator, so menu 7.5 to get reduced row echelon form, and then typing in my matrix. So in this case, you're going to have 2 rows, you're going to have 3 columns. Okay, if I typed it in, I would have 3, negative 2, 10, negative 20, positive 4, and then negative 6, enter. You're going to get this whole entire row of zeros. If you get a whole row of zeros, that means that you have infinite solutions. So that's what it's going to look like on a matrix. All right, let's come over here and let's look what no solution is going to look like. So if I wanted to do this one and cancel out my x's, I would multiply this whole thing by 5. That would give me 5x minus 15y is equal to 5. Negative 5x plus 15y is equal to negative 1. So on this left side, your x's cancel, your y's cancel, and you're left with nothing, is equal to 5 minus 1 is 4. This is a false statement. 0 does not equal 4. So this is an example of no solution. Okay, if you were going to do it on the calculator again, menu 7.5, menu 7.11, and I would type in 1, negative 5, 15, go up, negative 3, 1, and negative 1. When I hit enter here, you can see that all of my, this is saying 0x plus 0y is equal to 1. That's not true. So when all of your coefficients are zeroed out, but it equals a number, that's an example of your no solution. All right, same thing. I'll put that next video up. So if you need help with anything on the next page, make sure you're checking in. All right, here we go.